Barriss Offee's death and the revelation that Ahsoka Tano was Maul's assassin threw the Jedi Council into an uproar. The council chambers were filled with raised voices debating with each other, with each Jedi contributing their perspective on Ahsoka's betrayal. Mace Windu advocated for caution and suggested that Ahsoka had succumbed fully to the influence of the dark side. She would not be the first Jedi to fall to it in war. And it was remarkable that more hadn't in this one. Opposite him, Master Plo Koon expressed a lingering trust in Ahsoka. He urged the council to consider that she was being manipulated and could be convinced to return, if they could only figure out how Maul had gained her service in the first place. Yoda, the venerable Grand Master, listened in silence, his ancient eyes closed as he contemplated the delicate threads of the Force. As the counselors debated, divisions emerged, reflecting the fractures within the Order. Some believed Ahsoka had betrayed not only the Jedi, but the Republic itself. Others remained steadfast in their belief that Maul's dark machinations were at play, but few considered the role they may have played in this tragedy.
We cannot afford to be naive. Ahsoka Tano has turned. Simply put, she has betrayed the Jedi Order and contravened the order and judgment of law.
Laws which failed her, an order which failed her. Master Windu, I helped train Ahsoka. As strong as she is in the Force, she's only a child who was forced to grow up too quickly, even for a Jedi. She is of this temple. We can't dismiss her as lost without understanding the full picture.
Do not let your attachments blind you, Master Kenobi. We are at war. We can't afford to be sentimental. The evidence is clear. She has infiltrated Republic installations and murdered civilians, be them criminals or not. What more do we need to see?
Maul is a master of deceit. He manipulated the Death Watch into doing his bidding and gained a grasp over many others. We need to consider the possibility that Ahsoka has not only her own motivations, but might be a pawn in his game.
I agree. We've seen Maul operate the Shadow Collective, pulling strings within the underworld. It's not beyond him to use Ahsoka for his own ends. Perhaps we have failed her.
Her choices after she chose to leave the Order are her own. You cannot call an ex-Jedi's choice to commit murder a failure on the Jedi Order's part. What if she willingly joined Maul, as retribution for what happened with the hangar bombings? What then?
We owe it to Ahsoka to find out the truth before passing judgment. She deserves that much from us. She deserved that much from us. We left her to a military trial where she was nearly executed for false evidence. We are all aware of the consequences of the Republic's bloated bureaucracy. Her actions can be her own and linked to our own failure. But whatever the answer is, we must be right. Our failure already cost us one of the best Jedi I've ever known, and I will not allow that to be unaddressed.
The council continued its debate before Anakin Skywalker entered.
We need to find Ahsoka.
Skywalker, invited to this meeting. You were not.
Maul needs to be stopped. We can't let him use her.
Obi-Wan gave Anakin a look of sympathy as he sighed. The other Jedi Masters glanced at each other with expressions ranging from annoyance to grief.
We will call you when you are required. Out of respect for your former Padawan and yourself, we will not move forward with any decision without allowing you the chance to speak.
Bo-Katan Kryze, the formidable leader of the Mandalorian rebels, had been strongly urging the Republic to grant assistance for a siege against Maul and Mandalore. When news broke about the assassination of Barriss Offee, she finally found purchase. Palpatine had positioned the attack as a politically motivated statement against the Clone War. As a result of Maul's assassin killing the high-profile prisoner, he offered to give the green light for the operation on Mandalore if the Jedi Council approved. Of course, for Darth Sidious, it was a convenient way to finally deal with the pest that was his former apprentice. But the potential Republic involvement in the Mandalorian situation raised concerns with the Council, with some thinking the Senate might still view Mandalore as a neutral territory, and others worried that their occupation wouldn't go far enough. This topic became a central point of discussion among the Jedi and was unfortunately inexorably intertwined with the issue of Ahsoka. Hours of discussion passed before Obi-Wan left the council chambers and met with Anakin.
Anakin.
Obi-Wan, are we going to find Ahsoka?
Yes, but it's not overly straightforward. A siege of Mandalore would allow us to attempt to find Ahsoka and also deal with Maul. But the Council believes it would be best to continue with Palpatine's initial strategy of pushing our sieges into the Outer Rim before dedicating a force towards Mandalore. The Separatists still take priority.
As long as Maul is in control, Mandalore is a threat, and Ahsoka is in danger. The longer we wait, the more time he has to corrupt her. We need to mobilize now.
The Council does not disagree, but now is not the time. With the scale the war is at now, we don't have the proper resources. The Jedi and the clone army are both spread thin.
Anakin felt a quiet rage beginning to churn inside him.
If they won't do it, I will. I can talk to the Chancellor. Get him to approve it.
The Chancellor's approval is not at issue. It's the Council's imperative in this matter. Anakin, don't be rash. Even if you have the Chancellor unilaterally approve a siege, you will be endangering lives that have fallen under the Separatists' heel.
I don't care. I won't leave her.
Anakin left Obi-Wan in the hallway as he remembered Ahsoka murdering Barriss in cold blood. It played over and over again in his head. The thought in his mind itched. If Ahsoka was the first, who was to say there wouldn't be others in Maul's hands? Ahsoka was frightened. She must feel abandoned. She had to. He had let her down. Anakin left the Jedi Temple and began to head toward the Senate to seek an audience with Palpatine. He needed to find a way to lead an assault himself.
I understand your perspective, my boy. Unfortunately, Ahsoka Tano is just another casualty of this dreadful war. One Jedi and a Force user playing at being a Sith cannot take priority.
Please, Chancellor. I can help her. I can bring the 501st down in a tandem attack with the rebel forces. We can go in and take Mandalore quickly. It likely wouldn't take more than days. Maul wouldn't see it coming. Think about it. Mandalore is suffering too. If you send me to another planet, you prolong their suffering just as much. The rescue of the former lead planet of the Council of Neutral Systems.
You make a good point, but others may not see it that way. The Council.
The Council wants to deal with Mandalore. Their loyalty to the Senate and the Outer Rim sieges is the only thing standing in the way.
Odd. I extended to them the resources for the Mandalorian siege, yet they decline.
But, sir...
They are under the purview of Senate approval, of course. It makes sense for the Council to place the plan of my committee above its own. I must adhere to their decision. After all, we cannot afford to divide our units without our Jedi generals at the forefront. That being said...
Chancellor, please. You could overrule the committee. Let me go to Mandalore.
I would be doing you a favor by acting on the contrary. In truth, Anakin, the Council harbors a fear of your former apprentice.
What?
Oh, indeed. Did you truly believe the Jedi hold genuine concern for the Mandalorians? Perhaps your comrade Master Kenobi, owing to his connections with the late Duchess, but the others, no. The reality lies within Ahsoka herself. They fear her for what she symbolizes.
And what does she symbolize?
Their failures. Ahsoka Tano is a consequence, a product of the Council's errors and misguided judgment. Tano was cast aside, unjustly accused without a thorough investigation. And while I maintain a neutral stance in the matter, it was clear that the Council had already reached a decision.
The Council would save Ahsoka if they could.
So you say. Why spurn the advantageous opportunity I extend to them? Why divert their attention to other military endeavors?
Anakin felt a sense of confusion. Was the Council truly thinking of themselves again? Just like when Ahsoka left their steps?
I do intend to heed Krieg's plea and preserve what remains of Mandalore. But this task requires the collaboration of the Jedi Council. I am unwilling to allow a battalion without a Jedi commander to go into combat against a potential threat equivalent to one. Thus, I patiently await their approval. However, rest assured I make a solemn pledge. When the time comes, I will personally request the Jedi Council to appoint you to supervise the operation.
Anakin's confusion and disappointment turned to satisfaction.
I can also see that Ahsoka Tano has made difficult choices in her life. Her path entangled with the shadows of criminal endeavors, such as that of Maul and his Shadow Collective. But perhaps some leniency could still be found.
Oh, thank you, Chancellor.
Ahsoka Tano is a child after all. We must give her due process. We must be just as patient, but that fact we will keep amongst ourselves.
Shortly after this meeting, the Outer Rim siege is intensified, with Anakin at the helm of the Battle of Anaxes against Admiral Trench's offensive. Trench met his end at the hands of Skywalker, further weakening the Separatist chain of command. Skywalker fought with Ahsoka in mind, knowing that winning these battles was crucial to her rescue. It was her beacon of hope. It had to be. Mandalore loomed on the horizon, and Palpatine would uphold his promise to save her from execution. But subsequently, Skywalker and Kenobi were deployed to Urbana. Several weeks drifted by, and then a month passed like fleeting moments. Ahsoka stood on a Mandalorian rooftop, her gaze fixed on the stars above through the domed city of Sundari. As she thought about Anakin, Padme, Obi-Wan, and her friends at the temple. These dark deeds may have led her astray slightly, but she believed that she had captured their attention and could convince them of Sidious's betrayal. She eagerly awaited for Anakin and Captain Rex to take back Mandalore. But the moment was abruptly shattered by a chorus of distant screams reverberating through her mind like the haunting echoes of the mines of Mandalore. A sense of unease gripped her, prompting her to hastily make her way toward the heart of the city. Maul paced in front of his throne. He had sacrificed much of the time he had for preparation in order to effectively train his new apprentice. His master had already sealed the fate of the One. Only the relentless march of time separated them from the inevitable collapse of the Republic. He knew with an almost preternatural certainty that his master's new apprentice would emerge into the galaxy's chaos sooner or later. The only question that remained was a matter of when. Ahsoka reached Maul's throne room after a short walk back. She felt Maul's fear within him. Something was wrong. Maul turned toward her.
Lady Tano.
Maul.
You should not be awake.
I did what you asked. Now we can alert Anakin and the Jedi about Palpatine's plot. We can stop him right here and now.
Yes, Sidious Skywalker, your former master, the Jedi Kenobi. Have you sensed it?
What is it?
That disturbance gnawing at your mind as of late. I had everything meticulously planned out. It was so clear. The assassination was executed with perfect timing, and I anticipated it would take no more than a week for the Council to authorize the siege and summon Skywalker here. But, Lady Tano, that never happened. It's been 4 weeks, and the Council has yet to act.
What does that mean?
It means everything, Lady Tano. My master has succeeded in sealing the fate of Skywalker.
That's impossible. We set everything right. This isn't...
The cries persist, even within the deafening shadows of the dark side. I hear their screams, their dread, the approach of misery and death. The Jedi will succumb, one by one.
What else do you know?
Not long ago, an informant divulged to me the orchestration of a siege on Coruscant, devised by my master and Count Dooku. It all falls into place now. Dooku, he and I, one step behind, always. He has served his purpose, and... Why did I not see this? Dooku had become expendable at that juncture, Lady Tano. It was all a ruse. Skywalker dispatched Dooku, and thus the cycle continues.
What else happened?
I can only anticipate my master's grand design reaching fruition. I feel it. The demise of the Jedi Order. Your friends, Lady Tano, no longer exist. They have been extinguished at the hand of your master.
Anakin.
In due time they shall descend upon us, and especially upon you, Lady Tano. His hatred, meticulously cultivated, will surge with unparalleled power if my master can unravel his true potential.
What does this mean?
We have no choice. We must take hold of this opportunity and do nothing.
Nothing. Nothing? But you just said...
There is no time for questioning. Time now is a precious gift. We must use it wisely. Skywalker will undoubtedly possess formidable power, yet perhaps we can exploit his weakness. The question remains, will this place offer sanctuary for the time given?
Maul muttered to himself as his gaze fixated on Ahsoka. He recognized her potential as a valuable asset, a strategic advantage in the impending battle, a lure to bring Skywalker into his grasp, if he survived.
My loyal followers shall fortify our defenses. A Republic bombardment will not be sanctioned without the terms of surrender or a justifiable cause, not unless my master has changed the rules once more.
Tell me, what is going on? Stop being so cryptic.
We shall stand undeterred in the face of your former master. Come what may, Skywalker in due course will grace our doorstep, and we must be prepared. This plan, it has the potential to yield success.
Maul walked toward his throne, a shadow looming over his face, his eyes glowing in the darkness. Ahsoka struggled to come to terms with these claims, feeling a tremor in her heart. Was he telling her the truth? Was the Force showing him a vision or a lie? The harsh reality struck her once again, and she questioned if all of her efforts had been in vain. Had she taken those lives for nothing? The act of pushing Anakin forward, of making him see her, his shame. Did Ahsoka unknowingly contribute to pushing him toward the dark side, leading to the annihilation of the Jedi? The uncertainty loomed large. Was Anakin even alive?
Lady Tano, all of what you've known is gone. There is no point in mourning or feeling guilt. The galaxy as we know it is changing. The time of the Jedi has passed. Now, only together can you and I survive.
Ahsoka stood. Her eyes locked onto Maul. She breathed slowly, a calmness enveloping her as, for the first time, she completely trusted his word. Weeks passed as the Republic's demise continued to shift the balance of power in the galaxy. The Jedi and their allies were branded as threats to the crumbling government, ultimately paving the way for Sidious to declare the birth of his new galactic empire. Meanwhile, Maul meticulously kept his informants close, ensuring a steady flow of updates. As Ahsoka secluded herself in her quarters, reflecting on her past life within the Jedi Temple, she couldn't shake her disbelief at their downfall. Yet a small part of her clung to the belief that Anakin couldn't be responsible, contradicting Maul's assertions, of course. Information regarding Skywalker remained scarce. Official records and recordings suggested his demise protecting younglings in the Jedi Temple. But Maul refused to accept it. He doubted that Kenobi and the Jedi of comparable skill could be so easily vanquished. The relentless stream of information, particularly the betrayal of the clone troopers orchestrated by Sidious, impressed Maul, solidifying his suspicions of the grand plan of his master. To him, it was brilliant. Eventually, Jedi Masters Kenobi and Yoda were marked as wanted, confirming Maul's fears. Dark thoughts gnawed at Maul's mind. He sensed an impending threat that even Sidious couldn't account for. Each day, the ominous feeling grew stronger, the Force warning him of danger. It wasn't Sidious, but something far more sinister. Something to be truly feared. A month passed before Prime Minister Almec arrived to deliver Maul's daily briefing, signaling the beginning of another day in the ever-darkening galaxy.
The Empire has requested you surrender. They claim you are holding this planet hostage and that they will liberate it with force.
The Empire... I suspected their arrival was imminent. No doubt Sidious plans to have this world transformed into yet another military stronghold. Its strategic position is far too valuable to abandon.
My lord, can we defend our planet against their forces?
Perhaps. Perhaps not. Does the Empire not wield the same power that the Republic once did? Any resistance we muster will be swiftly crushed. But I refuse to yield. Disregard their message, Prime Minister. We will never surrender.
Almec nodded and exited the throne room, leaving Maul to his contemplations. As he gazed out the window, he couldn't shake the feeling that his master was aware of his presence, perhaps of Ahsoka's presence as well. If Mandalore were to fall, so be it. Its dominion would crumble, Almec and the Mandalorians with it, yet in Maul's mind he harbored the certainty that he and Ahsoka were destined to escape. Their sanctuary burning as a sacrifice for their safety, sacrifice to a dark force, something new. Maul remained convinced that he alone possessed the power to defeat Sidious, and perhaps Skywalker if he still lived, but with each passing day that conviction waned, overshadowed by the relentless spread of the Empire's darkness across the galaxy. Ahsoka represented his lifeline. She must survive if there was any hope of vanquishing Sidious. It was not long before the fateful day arrived. A lone, gunmetal gray Venator-class Star Destroyer exited hyperspace over Mandalore. An Ada-class shuttle disembarked from the hangar bay, entering the atmosphere and approaching Sundari. Maul was informed by his super commandos of its imminent arrival.
Allow it to dock and act as instructed. If there is an immediate threat, my strategies must be followed.
The shuttle's party was greeted by Prime Minister Almec and a legion of Mandalorians. From the shuttle, a dark figure emerged, followed by 2 stormtroopers. Almec was taken aback by the approaching shadow. A droid? Or a royal guard?
Prime Minister, I presume.
Representative of the Empire, I humbly welcome you.
I request to meet with your leader, Maul.
I am afraid we are not aware of this individual. I am the Prime Minister and the voice of the Mandalorian people.
As Maul overheard the visitor's request, he began to feel uneasy. But then he spoke in Almec's ear.
Bring him to my throne room.
I will not tolerate games. Time is limited.
Of course. If you will follow me, then.
The Mandalorians trailed behind the man, keeping a cautious distance as he entered the throne room. The doors slid open, revealing the dark silhouette advancing toward the throne. Maul cocked his head, studying the figure before him, unable to discern their identity. Almec lingered nearby, his anxiety palpable. In her chamber, Ahsoka's heart raced with every echoing footstep. She could feel it in the Force, the cold, and something oddly familiar. The Mandalorians and Gar Saxon observed the newcomer, their reactions ranging from mild fear to skepticism. Maul rose to his feet, meeting the Imperial envoy eye to eye.
You are the one known as Maul.
Indeed. And you must be the representative of the so-called Emperor.
Maul's eye twitched, and his breathing slowed as he stared into the dark lenses of the envoy. Ahsoka shivered in her room, frightened. She was full of fear, hopelessness, and despair. She felt the pain, sorrow. She sensed him. Ahsoka stood quickly and made her way to the throne room.
Why have you come, envoy?
The Emperor demands Mandalore's surrender.
So I've heard. I am well aware of his intentions.
The envoy's mechanical breathing was deafening in the large throne room. It echoed as he eyed Maul.
I have come to ensure this order is carried out.
Maul couldn't discern his intentions. There was an unusual sensation, as if a cloak had been draped before him, obscuring the envoy's intentions in the Force.
Mandalore is not yours to claim, nor does it belong to your so-called Emperor.
Ahsoka stopped in the hallway, leaning against the wall as she listened in on their conversation.
There is another purpose.
Which is?
You will bring me the one known as Ahsoka Tano.
Maul's eyes opened wide. The utterance of the words opened the cloak. He sensed the rage, the anger, the pain, the onslaught of emotions coming from this enigmatic figure. A raw power beyond anything he sensed before. He slowly felt pushed back, freezing him with fear. Him. Maul, feeling fear, his longest ally, turned against him. Maul couldn't believe it. He breathed hard. He felt his heart beat. Ahsoka fell silent as the figure pointed to Maul.
You will surrender Mandalore and deliver Ahsoka Tano to me, or this city will be razed to the ground. Its citizens will suffer in Imperial fire.
Maul's rage mixed with fear engulfed his mind. He was blinded by ambition.
Then you will be disappointed. I remind you, Envoy, that you are the one who is surrounded.
The only thing I am surrounded by is fear, and fear is my ally.
Kill him!
The Mandalorian super commandos unleashed a barrage of blaster fire at the two stormtroopers and the Dark Warrior with swift reflexes. The warrior turned and employed the Force as his weapon, redirecting incoming shots back at the commandos. Igniting a crimson lightsaber, he deftly deflected blaster bolts, swiftly maneuvering to block incoming fire. Harnessing the power of the Force, the warrior pulled 3 commandos toward him. With calculated precision, he dispatched them one by one, slashing down one, severing the arm of another, and impaling the third. Though the stormtroopers fell quickly, the commandos continued to put up a fierce struggle against the warrior. Yet his mastery of the Force and skill with the lightsaber served an impenetrable shield, rendering their attacks futile. A commando launched a missile from his jetpack, aiming it at the warrior. With a swift motion, the warrior employed the Force, directing the projectile into a group of nearby commandos. The explosion sent shockwaves through the throne room, shattering the window and blasting back several Mandalorians. As the wind roared into the chamber, the warrior's cape billowed behind him. He exerted his will, pushing against the powerful current until the chaos subsided. Almec seized the opportunity to flee the battlefield. While Rook-Cast and her squadron continued to engage the warrior, a Mandalorian leapt forward, blade in hand, but the warrior effortlessly seized him mid-jump, crushing his windpipe with a powerful grip before cutting him down. Another soldier attempted to ensnare the warrior with a 5-foot whip, but he seized the weapon and yanked it, hurling the soldier toward him and dispatching him swiftly. Rook-Cast unleashed a barrage of blaster fire, but the warrior calmly deflected each shot before unleashing a massive Force push. The sheer impact of the attack sent Rook-Cast hurtling into the depths of the Sundari abyss, her fate unknown. Amidst the chaos, Maul ignited his double-bladed lightsaber and attacked the warrior. With a primal yell, he launched himself at the warrior, his weapon whirling in a blur of deadly arcs and slashes, his movements swift and predatory. The warrior met Maul's aggressive advance with a measured and imposing stance and locked blades. The combatants moved with a deadly grace, their lightsabers dancing through the air in a lethal ballet. Maul's acrobatic strikes were met by the warrior's methodical and powerful parries. The clash of their weapons resonated in the throne room. Ahsoka watched the duel from afar before hearing an explosion. She ran to the window to witness a full-scale siege of Sundari by more forces of the Empire. She was shocked as buildings were rocketed by massive explosions, blasting fire below. Another explosion caused her to fall. It also caused Maul to lose his composure as he realized his plan was falling apart.
It is useless to resist. Mandalore has fallen, and so will you. Bring me Ahsoka Tano, and your life may be spared yet.
Who are you?
Anakin.
Ahsoka stood at the end of the throne room, her gaze meeting the figures as he turned. In that moment, a sense of realization washed over Maul, causing him to draw in a deep breath. How could he have been so blind? The answer to the grand plan stood before him. Ahsoka, as she felt into the Force, standing before her was like a dragon. And yet, it was familiar. A dark son of a kind. But it was only him. They could both sense it now. The Dark Warrior. None other than Anakin Skywalker, yet now he bore a different name, bestowed upon him by his master. The Sith Lord, Darth Vader.
Ahsoka Tano.
What happened to you?
The person you speak of is dead. and so is the rest of the wretched Council. Now, only the Sith and the Empire prevail. Anakin is gone, and soon so every Jedi in the galaxy will join him.
Vader approached Ahsoka Tano. She was frightened. She couldn't move. He stomped toward her.
However, you are strong in the Force. I will give you one chance. Join me and wield the power of the Empire of the Dark Side. Or join the rest of the Jedi Order and fall by my blade.
Maul jumped in front of Vader, seizing his chance. He pushed forward, but he effortlessly blocked the attack. His saber had never even risen. Maul's blade was held mere inches from the Dark Lord's neck by the power of the Force flowing through Vader's singular raised finger. In that moment, Maul realized that he would be no true equal to Vader. Throughout all of this, Vader had maintained eye contact with Ahsoka, who stood speechless. In a surprise move, Gar Saxon emerged from behind the throne and launched an explosive toward Vader. He turned to react, but it was too late. The explosion pushed him, Maul, and Ahsoka against the wall together, but still, Vader managed to stand in time and deflect Gar Saxon's blaster shots.
For Mandalore!
Vader rose to meet Saxon's challenge, accepting the duel between lightsaber and blaster. As the two clashed, Maul held his head and Ahsoka stood and fled the throne room. With a daring leap, she plummeted from the Sundari Plaza, her escape echoing with the sounds of battle behind them. Maul too began to slip away as Gar Saxon turned toward him.
My lord, help me. We can take him together.
I think not. You have served me well until now. Die well, Mandalorian.
Saxon once again turned toward his opponent. In a surge of rage, Vader's fury intensified and he used the Force to seize the Mandalorian in a powerful grip.
No one will remember you, but rest assured, I will remember this battle.
The grip intensified as Gar Saxon choked, hearing the bones in his own neck crunch. Vader watched the armored corpse fall in front of him. He turned toward Ahsoka's path, ignoring Maul entirely, who went the opposite direction. He sensed Ahsoka, her fear was palpable, and made his way toward her path. But she continued to run, never stopping as she descended a grand staircase heading toward the old hallways of Sundari and nearing the entrance to the mines of Mandalore. She turned sharply, her steps faltering as the tumultuous battle above took shape. She paused briefly to catch her breath, the echoes of Vader's ominous breathing apparatus growing louder and closer, signaling his pursuit of her. With a surge of adrenaline and fear, Ahsoka hastened her pace, darting into the caverns and down the long stretch that Maul had shown her previously. The sound of Vader's breathing felt like a looming presence right behind her. She continued to run, before stopping in front of the living waters. She breathed. She would have no way to swim. Not across these.
You cannot run forever, Ahsoka.
Ahsoka turned to see Vader standing, his lightsaber illuminated in the darkness. That darkness highlighting his silhouette as the red light reflected off his robes and armor. He stood straight, simply watching Ahsoka. She had no choice. She ignited her lightsabers, took a stance, and used her rage for defense. Vader continued to stand, unmoving, unfazed.
Why do all this? You've slaughtered them all. The Council placed their trust in you.
Betrayal finds us all, Ahsoka. The Council's betrayal reached far and wide, even to you.
Anakin, this is not the way of the Jedi.
Vader remained motionless, his gaze locked onto her.
Anakin Skywalker is no more. I am what remains. There is only Vader.
Ahsoka's breath caught, pain and despair etched across her face.
Your demise will serve a greater purpose. The end of the Jedi Order.
The swift motion, Ahsoka lunged at Vader. But he deftly sidestepped her attack and disarmed him. She stumbled backward, fear evident in her eyes.
These waters will be your final resting place, fitting for one who forsakes loyalty for their own ends.
Ahsoka felt a powerful grip seize her legs, pulling her toward the living waters as Vader wielded the Force as if he was the Force. She struggled against a hold that nothing could break, her screams echoing through the chamber.
Anakin, please! Let me go! Anakin! You're scaring me! I don't want to die!
Fear is not the way of the Jedi.
Ahsoka was engulfed by the waters, Vader using the Force to push her down into the depths. As she thrashed and fought to keep her breath, the light slowly faded from her eyes. She would surface, briefly gasping for air, only to be pulled back under by Vader's relentless power. It was unclear whether Vader sought satisfaction for his actions, but he stood stoically with his hand outstretched as Ahsoka was repeatedly pulled beneath the surface, her desperate attempts at survival futile. There was no escape, no reprieve. This was the end of Ahsoka Tano, and she knew it.
Embrace darkness, Ahsoka Tano.
Suddenly, Maul emerged from the entranceway and launched himself at Vader, igniting his own blade in retaliation. Vader swiftly turned to meet the attack, but Maul's ferocity pushed him back against the rock wall.
No, I will not be defeated!
Maul's scream echoed through the chamber as he unleashed a devastating Force blast, causing the ceiling and walls to tremble violently. Ahsoka, gasping for breath, pulled herself up as the cavern shook and began to collapse around them. With a mighty push of the Force, Maul redirected the crumbling debris toward Vader, causing rocks to rain down upon him. Vader attempted to counter with his own power, but it was too late. He was engulfed by the landslide. Maul wasted no time, pulling Ahsoka from the water as rocks cascaded into the old hallways. Vader struggled to escape the collapsing mine, but the relentless barrage of debris continued to fall as the entire structure collapsed around them. Maul and Ahsoka ran up the staircase as the entranceway fell upon Vader.
You wanted this chaos. Move, Lady Tano.
Following Maul through several winding hallways, Ahsoka eventually arrived at a hangar bay housing one of his private ships. As more Venator-class Star Destroyers descended into Mandalore's atmosphere, any remaining Mandalorian resistance either fled, perished, or surrendered as their batteries opened fire on the civilians in the cities. Olmec and other politicians were swiftly apprehended by clone troopers, while the Super Commandos met a similar fate. Their forces decimated. Ahsoka watched in solemn silence as Mandalore burned to the ground, the flames consuming everything in their path and the holiest site on the planet buried. Meanwhile, Maul piloted his small ship out of the Mandalore system, undetected by the Venators. As Vader emerged from the rubble, his suit damaged, but not beyond repair. And himself? Well, he had more than enough power to spare. Despite his injuries, he was barely winded, only knocked down. He gazed upward toward the sky, his expression inscrutable.
Ahsoka Tano. I will find you. You cannot escape your fate.
Ahsoka pondered the toll of their actions. Collaborating with Maul, the trail of assassinations, the betrayal of Anakin, the emergence of Vader. It had all led to her life crumbling bit by bit. Doubts gnawed at her, questioning whether she had made the right choices. Could she have prevented this downfall? Were her actions, however misguided, ultimately necessary? Maul had saved her life, yet she couldn't shake the uncertainty of his motives. It had been his idea to remain in the city initially. Could he still be trusted? What was his ultimate endgame? As for her former master, Anakin, she knew he would stop at nothing to find her. He had fallen too. She had failed. Ultimately. Now she would be forced to flee, alongside Maul. Despite the uncertainty, Ahsoka clung to the hope of survival, knowing that somehow, someday, Ahsoka would endure. She would always survive.